I am afraid that if we adopted that attitude, then there would hardly be any association for us with any country because we have disapproved of something or other than country does. Sometimes it so happens that the difference is so great that either you cut off relations with that country or there is a conflict. Some years ago, the United Nations General Assembly decided to recommend to its member states to withdraw diplomatic representatives from Spain because Spain was supposed to be a fascist country. I am not going into the merits of the question. Some think that question comes up in that way. The question has come up again and they have reversed that decision and left it to each member states to do as it likes. Take any great country or a small country and see what this means. You do not agree with everything that the Soviet Union does. Therefore, why should you have representation there? Or why should you have a treaty of alliance in regard to commercial or trade matters with it? You may not agree with some policies of the United States of America. Therefore, you cannot have a treaty with them. That is not the way nations carry on their foreign policy or any policy. The first thing to realize, I think, is that there are different ways of thinking, different ways of living, and different approaches of life in different parts of the world. Most of our troubles arise from one country imposing its will and its way of living on their countries. It is true that no country can live in isolation because the world as constituted today is progressively becoming an organic whole. If one country living in isolation does something which is dangerous to the other countries, the other countries have to intervene. To give a rather obvious example, if one country allowed itself to become the breeding ground of all kinds of dangerous diseases, the world would have to come in and clear it up because it could not afford to allow disease to spread all over the world. The only safe principle to follow is that, subject to certain limitations, each country should be allowed to live its own life in its own way. There are at present several ideologies in the world, and major conflicts flow from their ideologies, which we will consider later. Stop.